I'm in my favorite bookstore on a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm being followed. I know this because I've been followed before. I know the feeling of someone watching me the way you know the feeling of a specific kind of weather, a heaviness in the air, a pressure that builds, a sense that something is about to break. I know the pattern of someone showing up everywhere I go, and I know that it's not a coincidence, and I know that I should probably be more afraid than I am, but instead I'm just tired. My name is Charlotte Wells, and I'm 29 years old. 6 months ago, I broke up with my boyfriend, Travis. It was a decision I made carefully, after months of noticing small things. The way he needed to know where I was at all times, the way he got angry when I talked about my friends, the way he'd show up at my office without warning, the way he'd read my text messages while I was sleeping. At first, I told myself these were signs of love. He cared about me. He wanted to know where I was. He wanted to protect me. But somewhere along the way, protection started to feel like imprisonment. 3 months ago, he went from being a heartbroken ex to being someone who couldn't accept the breakup. Now he's someone who shows up at my apartment at 11 p.m., waiting outside my building, saying he just wants to talk. Now he's someone who shows up at my work, waiting in the lobby, saying he misses me. Now he's someone who shows up at restaurants where I'm having dinner with friends, sitting at the table next to mine, inserting himself into my life whether I want him there or not. He's texted me 347 times in the last month. I count them. I document them. The messages have evolved like a pattern I can see from a distance. I love you, come back became. You can't run from me became. I'm going to make you regret leaving me became things that are starting to sound like threats. The police have told me that I need to document everything and file a formal restraining order. They've told me that I need to keep records. They've told me that they need evidence. So far, I've documented 41 instances of him showing up in places where I am. I'm waiting to make it 50 because apparently, that's the magic number where the police decide to take stalking seriously enough to actually do something about it. Right now, I'm at 35 documented instances, and I'm in the poetry section of Eliot's books, pretending to browse a collection of Mary Oliver poems while actually watching Travis in the reflection of the glass bookshelf. Eliot's is my favorite bookstore in Miami. It's small and independent, tucked away on a side street in Wynwood, the kind of place where the staff knows you by name, where they remember your favorite genres, where the smell of old paper and tea and possibility hangs in the air like it's waiting for you to discover something important. The light comes through tall windows and hits the shelves at angles that make everything look slightly golden. There's a reading nook in the back corner with comfortable chairs and blankets. There's a cafe that serves coffee strong enough to make you feel awake and tea that tastes like someone cared about making it. I used to love this place. Now it feels contaminated because Travis has found it, and he's standing by the entrance, pretending to look at a magazine about philosophy, but he's not fooling anyone who knows how to read him. I've spent 6 months learning how to read him. He's watching me. His jaw is clenched. His shoulders are tense. He's decided to show up here today, and I'm trying to figure out what that means. I'm trying to figure out how to get out without him following me to my car. I'm trying to figure out how to get home safely. I'm trying to figure out if today is the day that his obsession turns into something worse. I'm trying to figure out if I should just call the police from here and tell them that I'm documenting my 36th incident. A man appears next to me. He's in his mid-40s, with dark hair just beginning to gray at the temples. He's wearing an expensive suit that probably costs more than my monthly rent, charcoal gray, perfectly tailored, the kind of suit that announces he has money and power. His shoes are Italian leather. His watch is something that catches the light. His face suggests he's seen things that most people haven't seen. There's a quality to his presence that makes other people adjust their positions when he enters a room. He has the posture of someone who's used to being in control. He picks up a book from the shelf next to me. It's a collection of poetry. I notice the cover is worn like it's been read multiple times. He holds it for a moment, considering it, then puts it back and picks up another one. "That's a good one," he says, not looking at me. His voice is quiet, conversational, the way you'd talk to someone you just met at a bookstore. The poetry is sparse but devastating. The kind of poetry that makes you feel things You didn't know you were capable of feeling. It is, I agree, confused about why a stranger is talking to me about poetry. Your friend over there, he continues, still not looking at me, still holding the book like he's genuinely considering buying it. The one pretending to read the magazine about philosophy. The one whose jaw is clenched and whose shoulders are hunched. He's been watching you for the last 20 minutes, and you look terrified. My heart stops. It actually stops for a moment, and I have to remind myself to breathe. You've noticed him, the man says. It's not a question, it's a statement. He's observed me observing Travis. Yes, I admit, there's no point in lying. Does he know you've noticed him? I don't know, I say. He does, the man says. He turns slightly, and I can see his face in profile. He has sharp features, intelligent eyes, the kind of eyes that miss nothing. He's trying to look casual, but he's actually very tense. He's trying to figure out if you know he's here. He's waiting to see if you're going to approach him or run. He's trying to maintain control of the situation. I don't say anything. I'm not sure what to say. I'm going to walk away now, the man continues. And when I do, I'm going to pass him, and he's going to realize that I've noticed him, and he's going to understand that whatever control he thinks he has in this situation, he doesn't have it here. Not in this moment. He pulls a piece of paper out of his jacket pocket and writes down a phone number. His handwriting is precise, controlled, the handwriting of someone who makes decisions and follows through with them. He folds the paper carefully and hands it to me. When you're ready to stop being afraid, he says, call this number, day or night. I will help you. I will make sure that you're safe. I will make sure that this person doesn't hurt you. Then he walks away. He walks past Travis without even looking at him, and for some reason, Travis suddenly looks very nervous. He straightens up. His posture changes. He tries to look casual, but there's something about the stranger's confidence, something about the way he moves through the world like he owns it, that makes Travis uncertain. I watch the stranger leave the bookstore. I watch him get into a black car and drive away, and I look down at the piece of paper in my hand. It just has a phone number. No name, no business card, just 10 digits that could change everything. The next morning, Travis shows up at my work. I'm a freelance editor. I work mostly from home, so I have a small office in a shared workspace in downtown Miami. I go there maybe twice a week to meet with clients or to use the video conferencing setup. It's a professional space. It's not somewhere Travis should be, but he is. I see him when I'm coming up in the elevator. He's in the lobby on the 7th floor, standing by the window, looking out at the Miami skyline. He's wearing the outfit he wore when we were together, the expensive jeans, the designer shirt, the watch that he told me cost $8,000. He's trying to look casual, but there's nothing casual about the fact that he's here. I almost get back in the elevator. I almost press the button for the lobby and leave the building. But I'm tired of running, and I'm 35 years old, and I shouldn't have to feel afraid in my own workplace. Hi, I say, standing in the hallway, making sure that he knows I'm not approaching him alone, that I'm visible, that people will see if something happens. Baby, he says when he sees me. His face lights up like he's genuinely happy to see me. I miss you. Let's talk about getting back together. He says this like it's a simple thing. Like missing someone is a valid reason to follow them across the city. Like heartbreak justifies showing up at their workplace. No, I say. My voice is steady. I'm proud of that. Leave me alone. You're making a mistake, he replies. His expression changes. The happiness is gone, replaced by something harder, something that looks like certainty. You're going to regret pushing me away. Everyone always regrets pushing me away. That's when I realize that this has gone beyond obsessive ex-boyfriend territory. This has gone into dangerous territory. This is someone who believes that I belong to him. This is someone who believes that his feelings matter more than my wishes. This is someone who believes that eventually I'll come back because everyone does. I need you to leave, I say. Right now, you need to leave my workplace. Or what? He asks. He steps closer. What are you going to do? Call the police? They won't do anything. They never do. A man just wants to see his girlfriend. A man just wants to talk. That's not a crime, Charlotte. That's love. I pull out my phone. I show him that I'm recording. This is the 36th documented instance, I say. My hands are shaking, but my voice is steady. You are at my workplace. You are following me. I have police reports filed. I have a lawyer. And I have video of this interaction. He looks at my phone. He looks at the camera on my face. And for a moment, I think he's going to do something. I think I can see it in his eyes, the moment where he considers crossing a line that can't be uncrossed. But then my colleague Sarah comes out of one of the offices. She sees us. She sees the confrontation. She understands immediately what's happening. "Charlotte, everything okay?" she asks. She's loud enough that other people in the office can hear. She's positioning herself between me and Travis. "Yes," I say, "but this person needs to leave the building." Travis looks around. He sees Sarah. He sees that people are watching. He sees that the element of surprise is gone, that the control he thought he had is slipping away. "I'll go," he says, but as he passes me, he whispers something. "You can't run from me forever." I watch him leave. I watch him get in the elevator. I watch him disappear. And then I go to my car and I call the number from the bookstore. A man answers on the first ring. Not the man from the bookstore, a different voice. Deeper, more dangerous. "I need help," I tell him. "I need to make sure that my ex-boyfriend stops following me. I need to make sure that I'm safe. He just showed up at my workplace. He followed me there. I'm frightened of what he might do." "Give me your address," he says, "and describe your ex-boyfriend. I'm going to send someone to help you." The someone is a man named Marcus who shows up at my apartment 2 hours later. He's not what I expected. I expected someone threatening, someone who looked like they operated outside the law. Instead, Marcus looks like a security consultant, professional, calm, confident in a way that suggests he's done this before. He's in his 50s, with gray hair and the kind of posture that comes from years of being aware of his surroundings. "We're going to make a file," he tells me, sitting at my kitchen table with a notebook in front of him. "We're going to document every instance of stalking, every text message, every appearance, and we're going to use that to get a restraining order. Once we have a restraining order, if he violates it, the police will actually have something concrete to work with." "I've already documented everything," I tell him. I pull out my phone and show him the notes application where I've recorded every incident, every date, every time and location. I have 41 incidents documented. I have screenshots of his text messages. I have recordings of him approaching me. I have it all. Marcus looks through my documentation. He nods slowly. "That's good," he says. "That's more than enough." 41 incidents is beyond what most judges need to hear. A restraining order should be straightforward. We're going to file this week. What if he doesn't listen to the restraining order? I ask. This is the question that keeps me up at night. I can get legal protection, but what if he ignores it? What if the court order doesn't matter to him? "Then we're going to make sure he has a reason to listen," Marcus says. I don't ask what he means by that. I think I know. Or maybe I don't want to know. Maybe I'm okay with not knowing the details as long as Travis stops following me. "In the meantime," Marcus continues, "we're going to upgrade your security. I'm going to install cameras at your apartment. I'm going to make sure that you have protection. And I'm going to make sure that if he shows up here, we have evidence." He spends the next 3 hours setting up cameras. He installs them in the hallway outside my apartment. He installs a camera by my front door. He sets up alerts on my phone so that if anyone approaches my apartment, I'll know immediately. "You should also change your routine," he says before he leaves. "Don't go to the same places at the same times. Don't establish patterns that he can predict. Make yourself harder to follow." "How long is this going to last?" I ask. "Until he stops," Marcus says. "Until he understands that he can't have you, until he decides to move on." But I know it won't be that simple. I know that people like Travis don't just decide to move on. They decide to escalate. Before I can file for the restraining order, Travis escalates. It starts on a Thursday evening. I'm at home cooking dinner when my phone starts buzzing. Text after text. 20 messages in 2 minutes. "I saw you with someone today." "Who was that man at the bookstore?" "I've been watching you. Did you know that?" "You're mine, Charlotte. You'll always be mine. I'm going to kill myself if you don't get back together with me. I'm going to kill you if you try to be with anyone else." I call Marcus. He tells me to document everything. He tells me to call the police. He tells me that this is no longer just stalking. This is threats, and threats are actionable. The police officer who comes to my apartment is a woman named Detective Sarah Chen. She's in her 40s, with tired eyes that suggest she's heard this story too many times. She reads through my documentation, and I watch her expression shift from skeptical to concerned. "This is serious," she says. "He's made specific threats of violence. Against you and against anyone you might be with. That moves this into a different category." "What does that mean?" I ask. "It means we take it more seriously," she says. "It means we can push for an emergency restraining order. And it means that if he violates it, we have grounds to arrest him. But an emergency restraining order is just a piece of paper. And I know that Travis isn't the kind of person who respects pieces of paper. The next week, Travis follows me everywhere. He follows me to the grocery store. He stands in the produce section and watches me pick out vegetables. When I see him, he doesn't hide. He just smiles at me like we're old friends who happen to be shopping at the same time. I leave my cart and go home. He follows me to a restaurant where I'm having dinner with my friend Sarah. He doesn't sit at a table. He sits at the bar where he can see me. He orders a drink. He watches me eat. When I excuse myself to use the bathroom, I see him through the mirror. He's watching the hallway to make sure I come back out. I tell the server that I'm in danger. The server, who's clearly dealt with this before, calls the police. The police arrive, and Travis is gone by the time they get there. But I know he's not far. I know he's waiting. It's the unpredictability that's the worst part. It's not knowing when or where he's going to appear. It's looking over my shoulder constantly. It's jumping at every notification on my phone. It's the certainty that he's always there, watching, waiting for an opportunity. One evening, he follows me to a coffee shop. I'm there to meet with a client about a manuscript I'm editing. Travis shows up 15 minutes into our meeting. He sits down at a nearby table. He orders a coffee, he looks at me, and then he starts texting me. "I can see you right now. You look beautiful today. I wish you were sitting with me instead of him. Who is he? Does he know that you belong to me?" My client notices that something is wrong. She asks if I'm okay. I tell her that I'm fine, but I'm not fine. I'm terrified. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of running. I excuse myself from the meeting. I go to my car and I call the number again. "He's escalating," I tell the man who answers. "He's following me everywhere. He's making threats. He's making it impossible for me to live my life." "Okay," the man says. "Your ex-boyfriend is going to disappear. You don't need to worry about him anymore. You're going to be safe." "What do you mean disappear?" I ask. "You'll understand soon," he replies, and then he hangs up. Travis disappears 3 days later. It's a Friday morning and he's just gone. He doesn't show up at my apartment. He doesn't text me. He doesn't appear at my work. His apartment is empty when I drive by. No car, no lights, no sign of life. I call his office and find out that he quit his job without notice. His bank accounts are inactive. His social media has been deleted. It's like he evaporated. The police investigate, but there's no indication of foul play. No evidence of a crime, no body, no crime scene. It's like Travis decided to leave Miami and never looked back. Which I suspect is not what actually happened. Detective Chen calls me. "We're closing the case," she tells me. "We've found no evidence of a crime. Your ex-boyfriend appears to have left Miami voluntarily. Without evidence of foul play, there's nothing more we can do." "Just like that?" I ask. "Just like that," she says. "Sometimes people leave. Sometimes they disappear. And sometimes that's exactly what they need to do." I understand what she's saying. I understand that she knows what probably happened. And I understand that she's not going to investigate further because Travis's disappearance is convenient for everyone except Travis. I call the phone number. "Did you do something to Travis?" I ask directly. There's no point in dancing around it. "I don't know who Travis is," the man says. "Yes, you do. Travis, my ex-boyfriend, the stalker. The man who followed me everywhere. Did you have him killed?" There's a long pause. "He's gone," the man says simply. "He's not going to hurt you anymore. That's all you need to know." "That's not an answer," I say. "No," he agrees. "It's not." but it's all the answer you're going to get. And then he hangs up. For the first time in months, I can breathe. I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm not jumping at every text notification. I'm not scanning every room I enter looking for his face. I'm not terrified that someone is watching me. I'm relieved. And I'm also terrified of what that relief cost. My therapist, a woman named Dr. Brennan, who I've been seeing for the past 3 months, asks me how I'm feeling now that Travis is gone. I'm relieved, I tell her. And I'm grateful. And I'm also guilty because I suspect that someone killed him, and I'm grateful for that, which makes me complicit in what might be a murder. Dr. Brennan doesn't respond immediately. She takes notes. She considers her words carefully. Do you think he was a threat to you? She asks finally. Yes, I say. I think he was going to eventually hurt me. I think his obsession was escalating. I think if he was still alive, I would still be living in fear. And now I'm not afraid, I say, but I'm not sure I should be relieved about someone dying, even if that someone was causing me harm. You're experiencing a complex emotional response, Dr. Brennan says. Relief mixed with guilt, gratitude mixed with horror at what may have happened. These are normal responses to an abnormal situation. My therapist is telling me that being grateful for a potential murder is a normal response. I ask, I'm telling you that your responses are understandable given the circumstances, she says. You were being hunted. Someone made that hunting stop. The moral and legal implications of how that happened are complicated, but your relief is valid. 3 weeks after Travis disappears, my phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize. Hello, I answer. Charlotte, the man says. It's the voice from the bookstore. The man who appeared next to me and told me that I was being followed. I'd like to take you to dinner, as a way of properly introducing myself. Why would you want to do that? I ask. I'm sitting on my couch. My heart is racing. Because I met you in a bookstore, he says, and you broke my heart with your fear, and I want to know who you are when you're not afraid. You're assuming I'm not still afraid, I say. No, he says. I'm assuming that you're afraid of different things now. Different things, but not him. What's your name? I ask. Alexander, he replies. And I'm going to be very honest with you about who I am. But I'd like to do that over dinner. Tomorrow night at 7. I'll send you an address. He hangs up before I can respond. The next evening, I'm sitting in a restaurant that's so exclusive and private that it feels like we're in our own world. It's not the kind of restaurant where just anyone can get a reservation. It's the kind of place where you need to know someone or be someone to get in. The lighting is soft. The tables are separated by decorative screens. The servers move silently, like ghosts trained in discretion. Alexander is already at the table when I arrive. He stands up when he sees me. He's more striking in person than I remember from the bookstore, taller, more imposing, but also more vulnerable somehow. His suit is tailored perfectly. His watch is the kind that costs more than a car. His eyes are the same dark eyes I remember, but now I can see the intelligence behind them, the calculation, the understanding of exactly who I am and what I've been through. Thank you for coming, he says. He doesn't try to hug me or kiss me. He just pulls out my chair and waits for me to sit. The server brings wine without Alexander ordering it. It's clearly his restaurant, or he's clearly a regular here, or he's clearly someone who commands a certain level of respect. I ordered wine that I thought you'd like, he says. A 2009 Chateau Margaux. It's subtle but complex, kind of like poetry, actually. I take a sip. It's the best wine I've ever tasted. It tastes like luxury and careful attention to detail. I'm a cartel boss, Alexander tells me, with no preamble. He says it like he's commenting on the weather. I run distribution across the Southeast. I've been responsible for at least 35 deaths. I make approximately $180 million a year. And I'm telling you this because I met you in a bookstore, and I couldn't stop thinking about you. And I want you to know who I am before anything develops between us. I set down my wine glass. I look at him across the table. Did you have something to do with Travis disappearing? I ask directly. He doesn't answer immediately. He considers the question. He takes a sip of his wine. I had someone I trust follow you for several weeks, he says finally. I wanted to understand the nature of the threat you were facing. Once I understood the situation, I made a decision about how to help you. I don't think you need the details of that decision. Did you have him killed? I ask. I prevented him from being a threat to you, he says. Whether that involved violence is something you should probably not know the answer to. But I will tell you this. I did it because watching you be hunted broke my heart. And I will tell you that I would do it again, regardless of the legal or moral implications. I'm quiet for a long moment. I'm processing what he's saying. I'm understanding that the man sitting across from me is someone who operates in a world I don't understand, someone who has access to resources I can't imagine, someone who decided to help me in a way that probably involved violence. And I'm grateful. I need you to know that being with me puts you in danger, he says. I have enemies. I have people who would like to harm me. They could use you as leverage. I know, I reply, but I'm choosing to be with you anyway. Because you saved me from a life where I was being hunted. Over the following weeks and months, I meet the people who work for him. They look at me with a mixture of curiosity and concern, like I'm a target that he's chosen to protect. Some of them are polite. Some of them are cold. All of them understand that I'm now part of Alexander's inner circle, and that means I'm either protected or at risk, depending on how I conduct myself. He brings me to his penthouse, which is on the 34th floor of a building in Brickell. The apartment is all glass and steel and cold beauty. Floor-to-ceiling windows look out over Miami, the bay, the city lights, the endless sprawl of human civilization below. The furniture is modern and expensive. The art on the walls is the kind that belongs in museums. Alexander shows me the safe room. He shows me where the weapons are kept, guns that I've never seen before, ammunition, explosives that I don't want to understand. He shows me the computers where his operations are monitored. He shows me the ledgers that document his empire, thousands of transactions, millions of dollars, an entire shadow economy operating beneath the surface of the legal world. This is my life, he tells me. Everything you see here is built on violence. I need you to understand that. I understand, I say. Do you? He asks. Do you really understand what it means to be with someone who operates like this? Do you really understand the implications, the danger, the moral compromise? I understand that you saved my life, I say. I understand that I was being hunted and you made it stop. I understand that the man I love is a criminal, and I'm okay with all of that. You might not be okay with it later, he says. You might wake up one day and realize that you've made a terrible mistake. Maybe, I admit, but I'm making that choice consciously. I'm choosing you, knowing who you are. Alexander asks me to move in with him 6 months after we start dating. My therapist, Dr. Brennan, thinks I'm insane. She suggests that I'm experiencing a trauma response. She suggests that I'm replacing one obsession with another. She suggests that I'm confusing gratitude with love. He's a criminal, she says in one of our sessions. He probably killed your ex-boyfriend. You can't build a life on that foundation. He saved my life, I counter. He rescued me from someone who was going to hurt me. Yes, he did it through illegal means, but he saved me. He saved you so he could have you, Dr. Brennan says. That's a crucial distinction. His motivation wasn't altruism. His motivation was possession. Maybe, I admit, but I'm willing to let him. I move into the penthouse. My clothes hang next to his clothes in the walk-in closet. My books fill the shelves next to his books. My photographs sit on the nightstand next to his photographs. I become part of his life in a way that feels both natural and dangerous. Alexander is different when we're alone. He's less guarded. He tells me stories about his childhood, a father who was absent, a mother who was cold, a world that taught him that power was the only thing that mattered. He tells me about his first kill, about the moment he understood that he was capable of violence. He tells me about the business empire he's built, the decisions he's made, the people he's hurt. And I listen, and I don't judge him. And I love him anyway. One evening, we're lying in bed and he asks me, "Do you ever regret it, choosing me, knowing who I am?" "No," I say. "Do you regret saving me?" "Never," he says. "From the moment I saw you in that bookstore, I knew that you were the only thing that would ever matter to me." The FBI raids Alexander's penthouse on a Tuesday morning. I'm at work when it happens. I'm in my office, reviewing a manuscript about a woman who leaves her husband and goes on a journey of self-discovery. It's ironic, because I'm currently on a journey of my own, a journey into the criminal underworld, into moral compromise, into a life that's completely different from the one I imagined. My phone buzzes. It's Alexander's lawyer. There's been a development, he tells me. The federal government has executed a search warrant on Alexander's residences and places of business. He's being taken into custody. I leave work immediately. I drive to the penthouse, but by the time I get there, he's gone. Federal agents are still there, cataloging everything, taking photographs, dismantling the empire piece by piece. An agent stops me in the hallway. "This is a federal investigation," he says. "I'm going to need you to step outside." "I live here," I say. "Not anymore," he replies. "Alexander's trial is devastating." The prosecution presents overwhelming evidence. Wiretaps where Alexander orders violence. Financial records showing millions of dollars in drug proceeds. Testimony from associates who have agreed to testify in exchange for reduced sentences. Photographs of crime scenes. Expert witnesses explaining the structure of his organization. It's a masterclass in criminal enterprise, and the evidence is airtight. Alexander doesn't defend himself. He doesn't try to claim innocence. He admits to everything. He accepts responsibility. He sits in the courtroom and listens to the evidence of his own guilt, and he nods slowly, like he's accepting something he's always known. When they ask about specific murders, he often doesn't answer directly. But when they ask about Travis, when they show him the documentation of my stalking and ask if he had anything to do with Travis's disappearance, he looks directly at me. "I knew a woman who was being hunted," he tells the court. His voice is calm, measured, honest. "I did what I thought was necessary to protect her. I accept the consequences of that decision." The judge sentences him to 24 years in federal prison. As they're taking him away, he looks at me and he says, "I'm sorry." "Don't be," I tell him. "You saved me from a life where I was constantly afraid." 3 weeks after his arrest, I visit Alexander in federal prison for the first time. The prison smells like industrial cleaner and desperation, and the particular smell of institutions. A smell that you can't quite describe, but that you never forget once you've experienced it. There are guards everywhere. There's security. There's the processing. There's the search. And then I'm allowed into the visiting room. The visiting room is exactly what I expected and nothing like what I expected. There are tables separated by thick plexiglass. There are phones for communication. There are prisoners on one side and visitors on the other, separated by a barrier that feels both physical and symbolic. A barrier between the world of crime and the world of law, between the guilty and the innocent. Alexander is sitting at a table when they bring him in. He's wearing a gray prison jumpsuit. His hair has been cut short. He looks smaller somehow, like prison is already diminishing him. But when he sees me, his entire face changes. He smiles. It's a genuine smile, the first one I've seen from him since his arrest. "Thank you for coming," he says through the phone. "I'll come every week," I tell him. "Every week for as long as you're here." "Charlotte," he says, and there's something in his voice that sounds like he's about to tell me to leave him, to move on, to find someone else. But he doesn't say any of that. He just says, "I love you." I become a woman who visits her criminal boyfriend in federal prison. Every Saturday, I wake up at 6 a.m. I shower. I dress carefully in clothes that are appropriate for prison, nothing too revealing, nothing that could be misinterpreted. I make coffee, I eat breakfast, and then I drive. The federal penitentiary is 2 hours outside of Miami, in a place called Ryford. It's a medium security facility, which means Alexander isn't in the worst conditions, but he's also not comfortable. The drive is long and boring and meditative. I spend the drive thinking about what I'm going to talk to Alexander about, what news I have from the outside world, how I'm going to make these 2 hours matter. I arrive at the prison by 9 a.m. I check in. I go through security. I wait in the visiting room. And then Alexander appears, and for 1 hour, sometimes 2 if we're lucky, We get to sit across from each other separated by plexiglass and talk through phones. In the first month, we talk about how he's adjusting. The guards, the other inmates, the routines, the fear and the strangeness of incarceration. By the third month, we've established a rhythm. Saturday visits become his structure. I become his connection to the outside world. The visiting room becomes the place where we exist together. He tells me to leave. Every visit, he tells me. You should move on, he says. You should find someone normal. You should build a normal life. And every visit, I tell him, I'm not leaving. 5 years into his sentence, I almost give up. I'm 34 years old now, and I've spent 5 years visiting Alexander in prison every Saturday. I've spent 5 years driving 2 hours to sit behind plexiglass. I've spent 5 years waiting. I've spent 5 years not dating, not building a normal life, not doing any of the things that people my age are supposed to be doing. On a Saturday morning in July, I don't want to go. I wake up and I look at myself in the mirror, and I see a woman who's aged 5 years in 5 years. My hair has started to gray. My face has lines that weren't there when I met Alexander. My body is tired. My spirit is tired. I call Alexander. I'm not coming today, I tell him. There's silence on the other end of the line. I'm taking the day for myself, I continue. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm tired of being a woman who visits her boyfriend in prison. I'm tired of being defined by my relationship with a criminal. I'm tired of waiting. Okay, he says, you should take the day for yourself. I don't know if I can do this anymore, I tell him. I don't know if I can spend the next 19 years waiting for you. Then don't, he says. Then stop waiting. Go find someone who isn't in prison. Go build a normal life. Is that what you want? I ask. No, he says, but it's what I want for you. I hang up the phone. I sit on my couch. I cry for 3 hours. And then I realize something. I'm not staying in this relationship because I have to. I'm staying because I choose to. I'm choosing Alexander, knowing who he is, knowing what it costs, knowing that I could leave and find someone normal and build a normal life. But I don't want a normal life. I want him. I drive to the prison. I'm an hour late for visiting hours, but I'm there. And when Alexander sees me, he knows. He knows that I chose to come back. I'm 39 years old and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I don't recognize the person looking back. I've aged dramatically in the past 10 years. My hair is mostly gray now. I've stopped dyeing it. There's no point. I have wrinkles around my eyes and around my mouth. My skin looks tired. My eyes look tired. I look like someone who's been waiting for something for a very long time. I'm still beautiful. Alexander tells me that every visit, but I'm beautiful in a different way now. I'm beautiful in the way that comes from sacrifice and commitment and the kind of love that costs you something. I've given up my 30s visiting Alexander in prison. I've given up the possibility of children. I've given up normal relationships and normal life. And I don't regret it, but I'm also aware of the cost. On the 10th year anniversary of my first prison visit, Alexander tells me about the work he's been doing. I've been mentoring other inmates, he tells me. I've been helping them prepare for parole. I've been talking to people about the choices that led them to prison. I've been trying to make meaning out of the time I'm spending here. That's good, I tell him. I'm not the same person I was when I came in, he says. I'm not the same person you fell in love with. Neither am I reply. I'm not the same person you met in the bookstore either. I'm 44 years old now, and I'm exactly halfway through Alexander's sentence. I've been visiting him for 15 years. I've driven 4,000 miles to sit behind plexiglass. I've aged visibly. My hair is completely gray. I wear reading glasses now. My body is showing the wear and tear of time and stress. But I'm still here. Every Saturday I'm here. Alexander has changed too. He's aged dramatically in prison. 15 years seems to have taken a decade's toll. His hair is completely white. His face is lined. His body is weaker. But his mind is sharper than it's ever been. He's read every book in the prison library. He's educated himself. He's become someone different, someone who understands the consequences of his actions, someone who regrets what he's done, someone who's trying to be better. On one visit, he tells me something he's never told me before. I was following you before I approached you in the bookstore, he says. I absorb this information. I was already obsessed with you, he continues. I wanted to make sure that the threat you were dealing with was actually as bad as I thought it was. And it was worse. So I helped you. You were stalking me, I ask. In a way, he says, I was trying to protect you. But yes, I was watching you without your knowledge. I sit with this. I think about the parallel between Alexander following me and Travis following me. I think about the difference between watching someone for predatory reasons and watching someone for protective reasons. The difference feels important, but I'm also aware that the distinction might be blurred. Does that change anything? He asks. No, I tell him. It changes nothing. I'm 49 years old now, and Alexander is going to be released in 1 year. I've spent 18 years waiting. I've been waiting longer than I was with him before he went to prison. I've built my entire adult identity around this waiting, around this commitment, around this man. And now, in 1 year, he'll be free. And I have no idea what that means. I have no idea if the man who walks out of prison will be the same man I've been visiting. I have no idea if our relationship can survive in the real world. I'm terrified. On my final visit before his release date, I tell him this. I'm scared, I say. I'm scared that you'll get out and realize that I'm not who you need. I'm scared that the world has changed and you won't fit into it. I'm scared that the reason we worked was because we were separated by plexiglass and prison walls. I know, he says, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to take it one day at a time. And if it doesn't work, then at least we'll know that we tried. I've given up so much, I tell him. 18 years, my 30s and 40s, the possibility of children, normal relationships, normal life. I know, he says, and I'm grateful every day for that sacrifice. The day Alexander walks out of federal prison is the day my life becomes uncertain again. I'm standing in the parking lot outside the penitentiary. It's a Wednesday morning in November. The weather is cool and clear. There's a breeze that carries the smell of freedom, which is an odd thing to think, because freedom smells like nothing in particular, but it smells different from prison. I've been waiting in the parking lot for an hour. I'm nervous. I've talked to Alexander through plexiglass for 18 years. I've visited him in this place so many times that the routine has become my entire life. And now that routine is ending. The doors open, and Alexander walks out. He's walking slowly, like the world outside of prison is still slightly foreign to him. He's wearing clothes that I brought him, jeans, a shirt, shoes, not the gray prison jumpsuit. His hair is completely white. His face is lined with the marks of 18 years in prison. He looks like an older version of himself, like he's aged 20 years in 18. He sees me and he smiles. I run to him. I hug him. He's solid and real and warm, and for the first time in 18 years, there's no plexiglass between us. Hello, he says. Hello, I reply. Welcome to the outside world. I'm terrified, he tells me. So am I say. We drive to a hotel near the airport. Alexander's probation conditions are strict. He can't be involved in any criminal enterprise. He can't associate with known criminals. He's supposed to reintegrate into society and be a better person. In the hotel room, we stand across from each other. It's the first time we've been alone together without plexiglass between us in 18 years. I don't know what to do, Alexander admits. Neither do I tell him. I don't know how to touch you without it feeling strange, he says. It will feel strange, I tell him. It will feel strange for a while, and then it will feel normal. He kisses me carefully, like I might break. I kiss him back. And we figure out how to be together in the real world, instead of across plexiglass. Later, when we're lying in bed, he tells me things about his time in prison that he never told me in visiting hours. He tells me about the violence he witnessed. He tells me about the man he killed, not for me, but because he had to, because prison demanded certain things of him. He tells me about the things he regrets. He tells me about the man he tried to become. I'm not the same person I was, he says. I know, I reply. Neither am I. The following weeks are difficult in ways I didn't anticipate. Alexander gets a job working in security consulting. It's the kind of work that allows him to use his knowledge and experience without breaking his probation conditions. He goes to work. He comes home. He tries to build a normal life. But normal doesn't work for him. He's spent 18 years in prison. He doesn't understand the modern world. He doesn't understand smartphones or social media or the way people interact now. He doesn't understand how to exist in a society that's moved on without him. He gets nightmares. In the middle of the night, he wakes up screaming. He's reliving moments from prison. He's reliving the violence. He's terrified that he's going to be sent back. I hold him through the nightmares. I tell him that he's safe. I tell him that he's home. But I'm aware that we're both trying to fit into a relationship that was built in prison and has to be rebuilt in the real world. My therapist, Dr. Brennan, asks me if I still want to be with him. Yes, I say, but I'm also aware that I might be staying out of guilt or obligation. That's something to consider, she says. That's something to be honest about. 3 months after Alexander's release, we're lying in bed, and he asks me the question I've been dreading. Do you regret it? He asks. Waiting for me, choosing me, all of it. I don't answer immediately. I think about the past 18 years. I think about the sacrifice. I think about the life I didn't have. I think about the children I didn't have. I think about the normal relationships that I never pursued. No, I say finally. I don't regret loving you, but I regret some of the things that came with it. I regret that you were in prison. I regret missing 18 years of your life. We can make up for it, he says. We have the rest of our lives. Do we? I ask. Or am I going to spend the rest of my life with someone who's trying to rebuild from a criminal past? Maybe, he says, but I'm trying. I'm going to therapy. I'm working a legitimate job. I'm trying to be the person you deserve. You already are, I tell him. You're just also a person who did terrible things, and I'm choosing to accept that. 5 years after Alexander's release, he asks me to marry him. We're back at the bookstore where we first met. He's carefully arranged this with the owner of the bookstore, who, it turns out, is aware of our story and is happy to be part of it. It's late in the evening. The bookstore is closed to the public, but the lights are on. The poetry section, where we first met, is lit with candles. Alexander gets down on one knee in front of the shelf where he first talked to me about poetry. He pulls out a ring. It's beautiful and simple, a diamond set in white gold, elegant and understated. I don't deserve you, he says. His voice is steady, but I can see the emotion in his eyes. But I love you. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I'm worthy of the choice you made. You already have, I tell him. You prove it every single day. I say yes before he even finishes asking the question. We get married 6 months later. It's a small wedding, just family and close friends. We get married in a garden in Miami. There are flowers and music and the kind of ceremony that feels like a celebration of everything we've survived. During the ceremony, Alexander cries. He cries because he spent 18 years thinking this would never happen. He cries because he spent 18 years in prison thinking he'd never have a normal life. He cries because I waited for him. During my vows, I tell him, I choose you today, knowing exactly who you are. I choose you knowing your past and your present and your future. I choose you not because of who you were, but because of who you've become. After we're married, Alexander volunteers with victims of stalking and harassment. He speaks at universities about the consequences of organized crime. He writes about his journey from cartel boss to reformed man. He dedicates his life to trying to undo the damage he caused. I watch him transform, not into someone completely different, but into someone who understands the weight of his actions, someone who's trying to be better, someone who's accepted that redemption doesn't mean erasing the past, but rather building a better future with full awareness of the past. On one of his speaking engagements, he talks about me. I met a woman who was being hunted, he tells a room full of university students. I saved her from that threat, but in saving her, I also endangered her by bringing her into my world. And she chose to wait for me anyway. She chose to be with me despite knowing who I was, and that choice changed my entire life. After the speech, a young woman comes up to talk to him. My boyfriend stalks me, she tells him. I'm considering leaving Miami to escape him. What should I do? Alexander tells her to go to the police, to document everything, to build a case, to find legal protection. He tells her not to do what I did. He tells her not to invite a criminal into her life as a solution. I saved Charlotte, he tells her, but I also put her in danger. The problem wasn't solved. It was just transferred from one criminal to another. On our 5-year wedding anniversary, Alexander and I go back to the bookstore where we met. We walk through the poetry section. We stand in front of the shelf where he first talked to me. We remember. The owner of the bookstore sees us. She remembers our story. She smiles. I was following you for days before I approached you in the bookstore, Alexander tells me, like it's a story he's told 100 times but wants to tell again. I wanted to make sure that the threat you were dealing with was actually as bad as I thought it was. And it was worse. Much worse. Why would you follow me? I ask, like I haven't heard this story before. Because I was already obsessed with you, he says simply. Because watching you be hunted broke my heart. Because I wanted to help, and I didn't know any other way to do it without seeming like a criminal. You are a criminal, I point out. I was a criminal, he corrects. Now I'm just a man who's trying to be better, a man who saved a woman from a stalker, a man who spent the last 23 years trying to be worthy of her. He pulls me close in the poetry section. I look at the books around us. I think about how my life changed in the middle of these shelves. I think about the man who appeared next to me and told me that I was being followed. I think about the phone number. I think about the choice I made to call it. Thank you for saving me, I tell him. Thank you for waiting for me, he replies. We stand there in the poetry section of the bookstore where we met, and we look at each other, and we understand the full complexity of what we've built together. We understand that our love is complicated and dark and beautiful. We understand that it was built on crime and redemption and the kind of sacrifice that changes you permanently. And we understand that we wouldn't change any of it.